Overwatch's new stadium mode is here, but let's be real, it's chaotic, it's intense, and it's probably unlike anything you've played before. You've got powers, items, crazy builds, a third-person camera. It's a lot to take in, especially when you're just trying to survive, let alone win. If you're feeling overwhelmed or just want to get the competitive edge, trust me, you're not alone. Stadium has a learning curve, but underneath that initial chaos is an incredibly deep and rewarding experience. And that's exactly why you're here. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 essential actionable tips that will help you understand the flow, make smarter decisions, and dramatically increase your chances of winning your first few games of Stadium. Tip number 1, pay attention to bounties. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the economy. No, not Trump's tariffs. Specifically, the bounty system. If you take away only one thing from this video, make it this. Bounties are a massive part of Stadium, and understanding them is absolutely critical for swinging the momentum of a match. So quick recap, when a player starts getting multiple eliminations without dying, they rack up a bounty. They'll be marked on the team bar at the top and will be highlighted in-game with this little symbol over their head. People with bounties are worth way more Stadium cash when eliminated. We're talking potentially 2,000 cash for a high kill bounty. That's enough to buy 2 common items outright, maybe even contribute significantly towards a rare or epic. Why is this so important, especially early? Because Stadium cash fuels everything. It buys the items that make your build powerful. Ignoring bounties is like leaving free money on the table, or worse, giving free money to the enemy. There are 2 sides to this coin. Offensively, you need to be looking for enemies with bounties. Check the scoreboard often. Is there a star player running around with a huge bounty? Coordinate with your team, even just pinging them to focus that target down. Securing that bounty kill is a massive injection of cash for your team, helping you get your builds online faster or catch up if you're behind. It's the single fastest way to accelerate your economy outside of just generally playing well. Defensively, what happens when you get a bounty? Maybe you popped off and got a few quick kills. Awesome. But now you have a target painted on your back. The enemy team should be looking for you. This means you need to adjust your playstyle slightly. Don't suddenly become passive and useless, but maybe don't take quite as many risky 1v1s. Play a little closer to supports or tank, stay alive. Denying the enemy your bounty cash is just as important as securing theirs. Seriously. Track those bounties, hunt them down on the enemy team, protect yours when you get one. It's a fundamental layer of strategy in Stadium that separates players who understand the flow from those who just randomly fight. Having played some League of Legends in my days, disgusting I know, securing a bounty or giving one up can win or lose games. Tip number 2, nail your early game commitments. Alright, moving on, this tip is about the critical decisions you make before the fight even properly starts. Decisions that lock you in for the long haul. We're talking about hero choice and your initial build direction. First up, your hero choice is permanent. I cannot stress this enough. Unlike regular Overwatch where you can swap heroes to counter the enemy or adapt to the map, in Stadium, the hero you pick on the selection screen is the hero you are playing for that entire match. That could be 15 minutes if it's a stomp, or it could be 30, 40, even 45 minutes. This means you absolutely need to pick carefully. Don't just randomly select someone or try a hero you've never really played before in your first few Stadium games. Think about it. Comfort. Pick a hero you generally know how to play well, you understand their abilities, cooldowns, and general playstyle. Versatility. Since Stadium features different objectives, control, push, clash, and maps, consider heroes who aren't too niche. Someone who can perform reasonably well in different scenarios is often a safer bet early on than a hero who only excels in one specific scenario, because you can't swap if the situation changes. Team. Consider your teammates' choices. Team composition will matter more in Stadium because there is no swapping. You can eventually buy items and select powers to make your team mesh better, but make things easier for yourself and your team by picking something with synergy. Once you've locked in your hero, the next commitment comes in round 1, your first power and items. Quick recap, powers are major transformative upgrades you get for free on odd-numbered rounds 1, 3, 5, and 7, and they are permanent once chosen for that match. Items bought with Stadium cash between rounds offer smaller stat boosts or ability tweaks, and can be bought and sold freely. The first free power in round 1 is critical because it sets the initial direction for your entire build. Don't just click the first shiny option you see. Read the descriptions. Some powers will offer significant advantages if chosen early. Others might require some more support to really come online. Think about how that power changes your hero's playstyle, then use your starting stadium cash to buy 1 or 2 cheap common tier items that directly synergize with the power that you chose, or cover an immediate weakness it doesn't address. The point is, make these initial choices deliberately. A synergistic start, even with just common items, makes you immediately more effective than someone who just picked a random power and bought unrelated items. These early commitments, your permanent hero and your permanent first power boosted by smart initial items, lay the foundation for your entire match. Get them right and you're already ahead of the curve. Tip number 3. Actively sell weaker items to upgrade. Okay, you've made your initial choices, you're earning some stadium cash by playing the game. Now what? This brings us to one of the most important and potentially underutilized aspects of the stadium economy. The Armory Shop lets you sell items back for their full purchase price. Let me repeat that. You get 100% of your money back when you sell an item. This isn't like some games where you lose value on resale. This is absolutely massive and you need to leverage it. Think about those common items you bought back in tip number 2 to synergize with your first power. They were great to get you started, giving you an early boost for relatively little cash, but items come in rarities, common, rare, and epic. And generally speaking, the higher the rarity, the more powerful the effect and the more expensive the item. Your goal as the match progresses isn't just to fill up your 6 item slots, it's to improve the quality of those slots. Holding on to 6 cheap common items halfway through the match while the enemy team is starting to buy powerful, rare, and epic items means you're gonna fall behind fast. This is where selling comes in. Let's say you have a common item that costs you, 1,500 cash. You could play a couple of rounds, earn more cash, and now you have enough to afford a rare item for 3,000 cash that provides a significantly better version of that effect, or perhaps a completely new powerful effect you need. Don't just sit there saving up the full 3,000. Sell the common item first. You get that 1,500 cash back instantly. Now you only need an additional 1,500 cash to afford that rare upgrade. This dramatically speeds up how quickly you can access more powerful items and keep pace with the escalating power levels of the match. However, this only raises the question, is it better to have 1 epic, 3 rares, or 6 commons? Should you seek to upgrade first or fill all of your item slots first? Generally, you're gonna want to upgrade. The rarer items typically have more than 1 bonus. You should also seek to fill every slot even with just commons because you can always sell them back later. You should never save cash. So, constantly evaluate your inventory between rounds. Do you have enough cash to sell a common and buy a rare upgrade? Is there an epic item that would be perfect for your build if you sold 2 of your weaker commons? Be active in the shop. Sell those placeholder items to climb the rarity ladder. Refining and upgrading your item build is absolutely key to scaling your power and winning those crucial mid to late game fights. Don't sleep on the sell button. Alright, 3 tips down, 2 to go. Hopefully you're starting to see how these pieces fit together, managing bounties, making smart early commitments, and actively upgrading your items. Stadium has layers, right? And hey, if you're finding this breakdown helpful and you want to keep mastering Stadium, this is genuinely the channel for it. We are going all in on Stadium content. Deep dive build guides, advanced strategies, insane gameplay showcases, patch updates, everything you need to stay ahead. So if you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell. It massively helps out the channel and ensures you don't miss anything. And while you're down there, drop a like if you're learning something useful. We've also got a community growing over on Discord where you can discuss builds, find groups, and just hang out. Link to that is in the description below. Seriously though, your support means the world and it allows us to keep making content like this. We're committed to being your #1 resource for all things Stadium. Okay, quick break over. Let's get back to the tips. Tip number 4, use starter builds your first few games. This one might seem simple, but honestly, it can save you a lot of headache and frustration when you're just starting out. You open the armory between rounds faced with a dozen powers and so many items, it can feel incredibly overwhelming. What synergizes? What's good on this hero? What do I even buy first? Deep breaths. The developers anticipated this. That's why they included the starter or example builds feature. When you open the armory, you'll see a couple of pre-selected build paths recommended for your specific hero. These include suggestions for your powers and a sequence of items to buy over the course of the game. Now I know some of you might be thinking, starter builds, that's for noobs, I want to make my own crazy build. And that's great. The depth of build crafting is one of the most exciting things about Stadium, but trying to freestyle an intricate build in your very first match when you barely understand the items, the game flow, or the economy is pretty much a recipe for disaster. Think of starter builds as training wheels. They give you a solid, functional foundation designed by the developers to be reasonably effective. By selecting a starter build for your first game or two, you accomplish a few things. First, you reduce decision paralysis. You don't have to spend the entire shop timer agonizing over dozens of options. You follow the guide, make your purchases quickly, and get back to focusing on the game. Second, it lets you learn the core of the game. With the build aspect simplified, you can pay more attention to understanding the round structure, getting used to the third-person camera, if you're using it, and figuring out the basic economic flow, like those bounties. Third, it provides a baseline. You get a feel for what a functional build feels like. Once you understand why the starter build works, then you can start experimenting and swapping out pieces intelligently. There's no shame in using starter builds initially. It's the smartest way to ease into the complexity of Stadium. Use them for a game or two until you feel comfortable with the mode's fundamentals, then by all means dive headfirst into the theory crafting rabbit hole and start creating your own masterpieces. But in true Blizzard fashion, walk before you run. Let the starter builds guide your first steps. Tip number 5, play proactively and dominate the early economy. This tip ties everything together and focuses on your moment-to-moment gameplay, especially early on. Here's the truth about Stadium. It shares DNA with MOBAs, and the early game matters a lot. Mistakes made in the first few rounds will snowball, making the later rounds significantly harder. Why? Because, as we've discussed, Stadium cash is king. And how do you get cash? Primarily through active participation, dealing damage, getting eliminations, and healing allies. Sitting back passively, being afraid to engage, or just wandering around unsure of what to do is actively starving yourself of the resources you need to buy items and keep up. You need to play proactively right from round 1. This doesn't mean feed mindlessly, but it does mean engage in fights. Get in there and contribute. Even if you don't secure the final blow, dealing damage earns you cash, healing allies earns you cash, every bit counts towards your next item. Play the objective. Focusing on the objective naturally puts you where the action is, increasing your opportunities to deal damage, heal, and secure eliminations. Don't just chase kills randomly across the map, fight on the point or around the payload/push bot. Consistency is key. Small, consistent contributions round after round add up significantly. A player who is constantly involved, even if they aren't getting flashy multi-kills, will often have a stronger economy than a player who gets one big play but does nothing for the next 2 rounds. Especially if that flashy player develops a bounty and they immediately feed it away. And the flip side of playing proactively is crucially important. Avoid unnecessary deaths. Dying is the absolute worst thing you can do for your economy early on. Gives you 0 income. When you're dead, you're earning nothing. 0 damage, 0 healing, 0 elims means 0 cash flow. And you're feeding the enemy. If you die, especially if you happen to have accumulated a bounty, see tip number 1, you are directly handing the enemy team bonus cash, allowing them to snowball faster. Think about it like compound interest. Every bit of cash you earn allows you to buy items slightly faster, which makes you slightly stronger, which lets you earn cash slightly faster, and so on. Conversely, every early death sets you back, making it harder to catch up. So, be proactive, get involved, play the objective, contribute consistently, but do it smartly. Manage your aggression, know when to back out, and prioritize staying alive, especially in those first critical few rounds. Dominate the early economy, and you'll set yourself up for victory later in the match. Tip number 6. It's still Overwatch. I know I said this video would have 5 tips, but I wanted to offer you a bonus 6th tip that I think is really important to keep in mind. Stadium is still Overwatch, and all of the good fundamentals you know will carry over. Play cover, hold off angles, abuse the high ground, and so on. Just because Mei is rolling around as a giant snowball doesn't mean you can ignore the basics. Stadium adds a level of complexity that sits on top of the fundamental Overwatch we all know and love. If you have a strong understanding of the regular Overwatch fundamentals, you'll be set up to have strong fundamentals in Stadium. So, There you have it. 5.5 tips to help you navigate the exciting chaos of Stadium and secure those first crucial wins. Stadium is a deep, strategic, and honestly incredibly fun new way to play Overwatch. It might feel like a lot at first, but apply these tips, be patient with yourself, and you'll be climbing the ranks and crafting insane builds in no time. Let me know down in the comments which tip you found the most helpful, if you have any other questions about Stadium, and of course, if you want to master this mode, remember, this is the channel for all things Stadium. Hit subscribe, like the video if it helped you out, check out the Discord and Patreon links below, and get ready for tons of more guides, builds, and gameplay. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck in the arena, stay focused, apply what you've learned, and until next time, I'll see you in game.